Dear colleague, welcome. It's Dr. Jack with today's Life Brief, and today's article is From No Change to Small Change, right? It's about us clinicians helping our patients achieve some positive change in their life, whether it's less stress, having more control, using fewer drugs, having a better diet, exercising more, having more friendships, whatever it is, just to be happier, right? Now, I think a common frustration among us clinicians is that sometimes, all too often, it seems that no matter what we do or say for our patients, towards our patients, it doesn't make a difference. Patients are stuck. And then they're often frustrated, or sometimes we're more frustrated than they're frustrated. They often seem resistant to change. And this could really contribute to a sense of cynicism on our part, and even maybe contribute to burnout, because it's easy then to have that thought, well, it doesn't really matter what I do or say, it doesn't seem to make any difference, right? So I think what helps me is to remind myself of this mindset. Well, of course this person wants a better life. I mean, who wouldn't, right? They want a better life. So whatever I'm doing, I'm getting the results I'm getting. So if I want better results, I have to do something different. So what can I do to get different results? What can I do to change my approach, my method, right? Now, granted, our patients, they often have difficulty making changes. After all, if they're seeing us, they probably have a mental illness or an addiction. They probably have few resources. They might be poor, they might be unemployed, maybe they have no history of employment. They may not have much history of success in any area of their lives. So, I have to be realistic. I have to meet them where they are. So, of course, if I try new things, they may work or maybe they won't work. That's okay. Success is not assured. But having this mindset allows me or pushes me to be more creative. If I want different results, I have to do something differently. So I think a good place to start is to, go to the source, the patient. Rather than me assuming that I know what they want, let me ask them what they want. So these are three sample approaches, questions or statements to make. The first one is the magic wand question you may be familiar with. And it goes like this: if you had a magic wand and could change only one thing in your life, what would that be? Another statement could be, now take a minute to think specifically what you want to see to be different in your life, and be as specific and concrete as you can, because otherwise, if it's kind of general, it'll be hard for us to know how to achieve, how to reach that goal that you have. Another thing that sometimes works is I say, paint me a word picture about how a day in your new life would look like. And then I can kind of track all of the things that they're looking for, and also what their obstacles are, right? So I want the patient to get to a point where they're very specific in their outcome. So, if they say, well, I want to sleep better, I need better sleep, I want to push them a little further into more detail. Like maybe, their goal or what they need to do is to get to bed an hour earlier. So maybe, they tell me, it's like, it would really help me if I could go to bed earlier because I have trouble getting up in the morning. I just don't give myself enough time to sleep. I sleep pretty well. It's just like I don't have enough hours that I'm giving myself. And I either oversleep or I get up and then I'm drowsy for half the day. Right? So, I get to that level of specificity. Now the next series of questions is to help identify and overcome the obstacles to reaching those goals, those outcomes. And this is the way I start. I say, well, what in the outside world would you say is most getting in the way of you getting where you want to be? For example, of you getting enough sleep. I mean, is it your kids? Is it work? Is it other family members? What's getting in the way of you getting that good sleep, for example? Now the next question is, I started with the outside. obstacles, but now I'm going to turn to the patient and see if they can take any responsibility and say, now, what about you? What is it that you may be doing or not doing that's getting in the way of getting to where you want to be, of getting in the way of you getting a good night's sleep? And I might say, well, I spend too much time on social media, or I'm dawdling in the kitchen, or whatever it is, right? And then the third question is, what do you think I can do to help you most to reach your goal? And maybe what I can do is more direct or less direct, but how can I help guide you in this process of change? Because of course I'm anticipating it's going to be, challenging, and there are going to be setbacks. So I want to know what the patient thinks that I can do for them. Again, the less I assume, the better off we'll both be. So now here are some examples of really specifying the change behavior that the person is going to take, right? So for example, the patient, is going to now have a rule-based approach to what change they're going to take, right? The more it could just be stated in a sentence very concretely, the better off the patient will be, the more likely they'll succeed. So here are examples. I always take stairs when needing to go up 4 floors or less. That's my new rule, because that's my small, doable step to achieve what I want, which is, to get more exercise, be healthier, whatever it is, right? Another example is my rule-based statement now is, when I watch network TV, I walk in place during all commercial breaks. It's doable, it's rule-based, and it's simple, right? It's easy to achieve. It doesn't cause me anxiety to think about it. Another one, I now take my dog for a walk for 30 minutes each day after work. I now only use 1 sugar packet for a small coffee, rather than previous 2 packets I used to use. I drink club soda or plain water with lunch. That's my change. When grocery shopping, I don't buy cookies. In fact, I don't go into the cookie aisle. I never buy snacks at checkout, like when I'm at the convenience store or grocery store. Or here's one that's good. When I fill up my car with gas, I pay at the pump and I don't go inside to buy snacks. I never check my email after 7:59 p.m. every evening. That's when I stop. Or I set my alarm at 9:30 p.m. and give myself 1 hour of quiet time before turning out my lights. Or right before I'm ready for bed, I spend 10 minutes reviewing all that I'm thankful for. So these change behaviors, imagine, in fact, you can do this if you want, that once a patient can identify something so specific, that maybe in your office, during your appointment time, you go on your computer and you actually write out this rule-based statement that the patient will now adhere to. So you can actually write that out. You can, take a sheet of paper, you can narrow the margins, and then you can write, when I fill my car with gas, I pay at the pump and don't go inside to buy snacks. You print it out, you cut out that little snippet, right? Kind of keep it narrow, and then you give it to the patient where they could put that in their wallet or in their purse. So now they have something very, very specific. It's not going to stress them out. It's achievable, and it's very, very concrete. Further change success tips, it's usually better for people to engage in one change behavior at a time, and to be as consistent as possible. And only once that new habit is established, meaning a person always or almost always follows that rule, is it time to add a second change. But if the person's really not adhering to the first change behavior and you add other ones, then you're just piling up, unsuccessful, approaches, unsuccessful change behaviors. So the other thing is then really track adherence and the patient's success or lack of success taking this approach. And specifically ask, well, what's working? When you do, follow your rule, right, taking the dog out for a walk, what makes it successful on those days? Now, on the days you don't do that, why not? What do you think's getting in the way? Let's identify that so we can eliminate it or overcome it in some way. Another thing to note is sometimes when people are actually successful at implementing their change behavior, they get frustrated with the slowness. They're like, look, I have to lose 70 pounds getting up and kind of walking in place during commercial breaks is not going to get me anywhere quickly enough. And the answer is, well, yeah, that's not going to allow you to lose 70 pounds or whatever, bring your cholesterol down. But, oftentimes change speeds up. The patient starts developing a sense of efficacy and agency, and they become more adept, more skilled at implementing change. So oftentimes that change can speed up. But it's important not to overdo it early on, because the most important thing is to achieve consistent small success at the beginning so that that approach of habit formation is set up. Another thing I always keep in mind is that no change is forever. There will be setbacks, there will be returns to bad habits. It's inevitable. And I don't want to get overly negative about it with patients, because I just know that it happens. It happens to all of us. Nothing is 100%, nothing is forever. So it always takes active management. And it's like, okay, well, you were really good about that for 3 months, and then you kind of fell off the wagon. So let's go back and what changed in your life? Don't regret it. Look, you had 3 good months and you engaged in a lot of positive behaviors or less negative behaviors, and that's for the better. So let's see, it'll be easier to get back to it than it was to establish it the first time, because you already have clarity on what to do. And we just have to figure out how to keep you at it so the next time you're able to maintain that for longer than 3 months. And if you ever have problems in the future, we'll figure it out then. Let's just take it one step at a time, right? So, it's like when I work with people with addictions who fall off the wagon, it's just sort of like, it often takes, it often takes several remissions and relapses to really establish sobriety long term. But each time, let's see if we can make it better, more complete, last longer. What can we learn from it? Because sometime in the future, I always believe that patient will achieve complete sobriety, maybe for the rest of their lives, even if it's way after they're working with me. So I always think that there's a memory trace of success that I'm helping the patient build, even if, that success will become temporarily or they'll leave my practice. So thank you so much. This is Dr. Jack with today's Life Brief, from no change to small change. Thanks, and take care of yourself. Thank you.